And
looks like we're live.
Yeah,
we are live, and I love it.
Action.
Action, camera, and we get the honor and privilege today to introduce the world to our dear brother Nick, who has been on this journey with Marla and I, and the inspiration that you have given us, and vice versa, and the growth and the love and the souls we've been touching together. There's not enough words that Marla and I could express to just share the gratitude that we can call you our brother and that we love you. And just amazing that we're here today sharing your journey with the Tree of Life movement, the intention stick, and all the beautiful souls, not only that you've impacted on this journey, but how it's affected your life and your journey to where you are today. So world, this is Nick. Nick, this is the world.
Well, hello to the world, whoever's watching right now. And thank you so much for inviting me to do this with you and having me on. And, I know you said you just wanted me to share my story. And I wasn't, the first question was, oh my goodness, which story, right? Because life is a sequence of just stories. And my number one motto in life, as a lot of people who know me know, no matter how good or bad your day is, it always makes a better story later, right? Yeah. And so as soon as someone says, tell your story, I'm used to asking the questions and interviewing the people. So I don't even know where to begin or where to start, but I will start with thank you. I'm grateful to be here with you and everyone who's watching this now or who gets to watch this in the future. And I hope that one more person in the world who watches this, it helps change or shift or just impact their lives in any way for the better based on our conversation.
Yes, exactly. And I think we should go back to that divine day that we met, or even before. How did we meet?
We met through Venna, Brian Venna.
Another dear brother.
A dear friend and neighbor, which is really kind of funny because where I lived at the time, I'm coming to you from beautiful Las Vegas, the entertainment capital of the world. I wish you could see the view behind me right now. But I lived right across the street from your office.
Yes.
I mean, directly across the street. And my office was directly next to that, which was directly across the street.
Yes, of course.
So, 24/7, we were within a few hundred feet of each other. And I remember that dear friend Brian said, do you know Scott Marla? And I'm like, I don't think so. He said, there's no way that you guys don't know each other in this town. And he said, we've got to go over, because I know you like watches and I know you like this, but I really want to talk to you about this. And we kept missing the time and missing it. But all of a sudden he said, can you come up right now and go meet Scott right now? I'm like, yeah, I can right now. I work and live right here. And walked over and I was blown away. It was this little magical kingdom in this building that I didn't even know was there. I knew the building was there, but I didn't know your office and your showroom, if you will, and your sanctuary were in that building. And it's so lovely, so wonderful. And we met and we immediately just hit it off and connected. And I know that Venna wanted to surprise me with one of these, with the intention stick. And you're making me realize there's so much more to the story.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm getting warm. I'm gonna be here for a minute.
No, I know.
Take this off and then get comfortable in my own living room.
It's a lot of energy, a lot of love, and truly, as you and Marla and I know, we were all divinely guided, and truly, we have to say many times over, thank you, Brian, for the gift of not just our relationship, but the beautiful souls that have all been brought into our lives, and that's just that state of gratitude. So now that you're comfortable really within your own skin, spill your guts, bro. No.
You know, that day I picked love, health, and success. I remember picking those words, and I remember immediately feeling something, a shift, and I remember, you know, we hugged and we embraced, and tears rolling down my eyes. It was as if I was letting something go and letting something in, which I did think about this, and we're going to touch on this in a little bit. Because I think that my story is going to be a lot different than a lot of people that you may have spoken to. I did watch a few of them. As my life didn't dramatically get better right after. It got worse before it got better. And, you know, a lot of people want immediate change, or they meet someone, or they get something like an attention stick, and they want that change immediately. And for a lot of people, that happens. For me, I had a lot of shifts and a lot of change, but I also went down a downward slope for a while. There's very few people who know this. You don't know this, and there was a lot, and I figured out why. And the short answer to that is that I think, as you'll agree, and as a lot of people who are kind of very self-aware and going through these trials and tribulations in life, because even the best have their worst days, right? Let's admit it. The best will have their worst days. And you've got to have a bad day. You have to. It makes a better story later, helps you really focus on good. The greatest inventions in life happened on the biggest failures. So I encourage people to embrace those bad days. You don't need to always try to fight those. Embrace them. Allow that shift to work for your advantage, not against you. And for me, it was realizing that I was trying to hold on to old things, right? Old people that weren't serving me, and vice versa. Old, you know, an area, an environment. Until you let go, you can't let in, right? You only have so much room in your life for everything. And it took me 40 years to realize that, right? I heard this, and I heard this, and I heard this, and you hear things, but until you apply them, that's when change happens. And that's where a lot of people miss this. And so this was powerful for me, and I felt an immediate shift, and I felt all these great things. But I chose to allow things that weren't serving me, or things that made me feel lesser about myself or my environment. And I think it was the intention of wanting the best for everybody, but it came across the wrong way. Even for me, I was presenting myself in a bad way, in a negative way. I noticed that even when I was trying to help somebody, it was coming off that I was just judging them, or just, you know, it was just one of those. So I had to really, really get in grip with that, but I didn't until I finally made a huge shift and a huge change. I picked up everything and moved. I was in Scottsdale for 16 years. Left my home, moved, and just decided to really get in touch with myself and my intentions and my life and my purpose. And I give you a lot in a little bit, but before that, let's back up a wee bit, because the original intention stick that I did receive, I remember on my birthday 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 birthdays ago.
Yes.
And my cousin, I had some family in town. My cousin was like a brother to me growing up. We were very, very, very tight forever. And he's very East Coast and rough around the edges, and very, bah humbug. Everything's tough and everything's difficult. And I remember at my birthday dinner, because Venna was there, Marissa, she also gave her one shortly after she lost her father. There was a lot of And I just had this overwhelming, what's the word I'm looking for? Feeling, sitting at a table, as Brian's talking about it, because everyone was asking. And I remember just getting up and I put it around his neck. And I said, this is for you and don't ever take it off. And I remember the second I clasped it around his neck, I had this overwhelming feeling that I still to this day cannot describe to people. It was as if something left, but I had so much more come in for helping this individual. And I know he's not usually real receptive to those type of things, but he was in this instance, and he would tell me over the phone and certain times that he could feel things and felt better or not. So it was the sense of giving. And I know both of you are very familiar with that sense of giving and wanting the best for people really fills your soul.
Yes.
There's a but to that. You give and you give and you give and you give, and someone like me doesn't know how to receive. I struggled with receiving for many, many years, many, many decades. And when you give so much and give so much, or even if you intend to give so much and you don't learn how to receive, you get drained of everything you have.
Correct.
I feel like that's what happens in me. So the short part of the story is my life didn't get peachy and great right afterwards. Oh, I remember when we replaced it with the rose gold number 9.
Yes.
Number 9, rose gold, the number 9 one ever made for a specific reason. Wanted that number, and it was coming up. It's coming, and I knew that being connected with everyone in yourself, that's the deeper rub, right? The connection with the like-minded souls around the world who have an intent to do wonderful things for themselves and others around them every day. Who, even on their bad days, still you can feel that energy from those all around.
Yes.
And but my story goes into a downward spiral of depression, loneliness, self-sabotage, all while having this. And it stems from, again, not being able to receive, trying to give too much, and not letting go of old for the new to come in. And I really want to emphasize that for everyone that watches this, is that, you know, some people say, well, for the good to come in, you have to let go of the bad. I don't like to say that. I like to tell the people that I mentor and work with, you have to let go of the good to let in the great, right? Because there's a fine line between good and great. And these things may serve you for a time being, but if you really want to be exceptional and great and have those great things happen, you have to let go, because you only have so much room in your life for everything, for love, for business, for, you know, help. You only have so much room. You have to fill all those spaces accordingly.
Yes.
And that's what I missed, and that's what I lost. And I remember specifically, kind of just babbling right now. Just keep going.
Oh, this is beautiful, my brother. You're so spot on right now.
I remember specifically during one of my deepest, darkest hours here last year. I could almost probably pinpoint right around the date. The only time I ever take this off is to shower. It never comes off.
Correct.
For that. And I remember being so down that I said, I don't even want to wear this right now. And I took it off. And I went through a few days to really feel. I encourage everyone, no matter how bad your day is, feel it, embrace it, embrace it. You have to feel that. Trying to fight it isn't going to fix it. You have to embrace it. And I really, really wallowed in my own sorrow and wallowed in some things. And I woke up and said, this is the day. This is the day that shift happens. This is the day that I decide, because you have to decide, to let all the great in and let go of this. And I remember the very first thing I did was went and I picked this up and I put it on. And I swapped out some words, which I'm just going to keep to myself. Swapped out some words, but opening this, looking at the words, changing the words. It's like going to the gym and working out. Let me rephrase that. It's like you haven't worked out in a while and then you work out really, really hard one day and you feel a difference. Oh, you really feel it. It hurts, but it feels so good.
Yes.
Right? It was kind of one of those realizations that it hurt, but it felt so good at the same time. And I immediately felt connected with everyone. I could feel that energy and I could feel that support subconsciously or internally, if you know what I mean. I could really feel that. And I grabbed it and I said, I knew that this was the time and I knew it was the time to make the right decision. And in that time, so much happened, so much shift and change happened in such a short amount of time. And I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful that I was able to lean on everyone who has the intention sticks, feeling all the power and all their intentions. It was one of the things that I really turned to that helped me most. We all help ourselves the most. You have to love yourself and help yourself the most. But that was a time when I had to decide. So I decided, and some amazing things have sprung from that. Amazing relationships, amazing closure, letting go of a lot of things, getting that completely off my brain. My new passion project that I've had on hold for 4 years, and being able to help others with that. And it's the same premise you have with this that I have with Distinguished is if I can help mentor one young man who doesn't have that gentleman-like figure to look up to, who is going to make a lot of mistakes if he doesn't listen to all the mistakes I tell him not to make. If I can help one young man change his life, then I've done my job.
Yes.
And that all went from passion project, back burner vision to full-blown reality within weeks of deciding to get back to myself,
Wow.
to put this back around my neck, to be in touch with everyone that's part of this, and to allow myself to receive. And within weeks, not months, just weeks, just popped off weeks. And it still takes, it's like working out. You still have to go through the motions and you still have to do the work and you still have to get up in the morning. But these little steps every day when I wake up, this is always twisted around my neck somewhere. So I fix it. So it's the first thing I grab.
Yep.
And I think about what's in that. The first thing I do every single day is practice gratitude. And it's first thing is with my dog, and she knows it because the other day I got a phone call from a client early that woke me up. So I started my day and my dog was in my face going, "You did not give me the gratitude today that you always give me. I swear this is true." She's so used to me embracing her and giving her gratitude and thanking her to see her face this day and thanking the day and thankful that I have this and thankful I get to experience another day where I get to live and love and change someone's life today. Because I wasn't always like that. My life wasn't always like that, especially when I was younger. And so gratitude and then journal. I have multiple journals. Journal every day. It's how I start my day. I have gratitude, journaling. I actually teach myself a language every morning before I do anything else before that. So how people grab their phone and they check social media and they check emails and they check the stock market. As tempted as I am to check my stocks, I don't. If I pick up my phone in the mornings to learn something.
Yes.
Because when your brain works the best. So I practice a language for 20 minutes, journal, gratitude, and then I just really embrace the day, right? And that's the short version of a 9-hour conversation.
Oh my goodness.
Wow, Nick, that so beautiful. And I know, Marla and I know how, as we say, hard that was for you to share, because again, talk about alignment, our soul to soul connection between us three. I can think of you and you call. We literally sent a text earlier at the exact same time.
Exact same time. You did a group text with Marla, myself, and I was sending you one at literally the same exact second.
Both dinged. As it sent, yours dinged. But also, what I would love to share, two things that you had touched on. One, that, oh, wow, that we're all going through something, but I always seem, or Marla and I seem to feel your energy, or just that perfect timing or alignment when we need to reach out for one another, just to remind one another we're always there for each other. We have each other's back. And that's that spiritual, that is that collective, to let this world know and understand it's not just words we speak, it's our heart and soul that we share with the world as this collective. But the beautiful part of the story that you didn't share, and it was a tough late afternoon, early evening, we had our meeting, is I remember like it was yesterday. After you chose your words and I placed the necklace around your neck, and yes, we embraced and we're both crying. And I said to you, be open to receive, or the art of allowing, because the beautiful blessings that will come into your life, the beautiful people that will come into your life, it's going to be miraculous. And we talked about letting go, like you had mentioned, of the things, yes, that no longer serve us, and forgive and send it with love. And sometimes that takes more time than, hey, I forgive, I let it go. We have to work. As you said, we have to do the work. And you did the work, and you didn't go through a low, or whatever you want to say. Those were beautiful lessons and growth and a gift. Everything you went through happened for you, as Marla and I and you have spoken about. And it brought you to the next place in your life, and you continue to grow and learn, and makes you stronger, and you realized your truth. And you saw who you were versus what the world expects us all to be.
Yeah.
And no one trusts that. No one thinks, oh, I can be exactly who I am. And this is what we're re-educating these beautiful young men, or these brothers and sisters around the world, to be exactly who you are, because you're perfect. But for you, or Marla and I, to mentor or guide, that's the knowledge, the wisdom, the gifts we've been given to share with another soul. Because again, if we can just reach one more soul and help them get through something, and still have them realize they are surrounded by love, as Marla and I speak about every second of the day, that they do matter, they do have purpose, and they're just as important as anyone else. And that's the mantra, to let everyone know to love themselves, because they are loved, but they have to love them like you saw in yourself. You truly love who Nick is. Mm-hmm. And wow. And when you put that back on, you started your journey to live a life of intention, and know that you wake up each morning with that gratitude. And how am I going to serve? How am I going to help another? What am I going to do to stay in that state of bliss and happiness, not just for myself, but for everyone? And you're doing it. And there's much more. I know you. Yes, I know that was the short version. Because when we get together,
Nick,
I know.
You know, you did mention when you were younger that you didn't have this awareness, or the giving part of you. And I think it was always there. It was just covered up, and it was just waiting for you to awaken. And when you said, you mentioned a few things, and I wasn't ignoring you when I looked down, I'm just taking notes. But, you know, one of the things that there were a few things that you said that were just profound. And, you know, one of them, and I know we've talked about this before, was the receiving end, because even for myself, you know, for people who are givers, who are used to being the givers, it's very hard to be on the receiving end, believe it or not, because it can be uncomfortable. And, you know, the one thing that I believe, or I know we've discussed, is that it's so important to allow people to give, because we know what it feels like to give. And it fills our souls to give and to see the reaction of the other person that we're touching. So in turn, we should also allow other people that gift to give, to let them have that same feeling that we're feeling. And it's really empowering when you can see that in them and allow them to receive the power of gifting to you. Is just so beautiful. And I know that was a big one for you.
All of us. All of us.
Do you have some? Did you want to?
Yeah, no, I just, you're making me, because it's funny. It's not funny. You're spot on with that, because I had a gentleman who I looked up to many years ago. He said to me, he said, "You love giving to people. You love doing things for people. You love to be the provider and to give and to make people happy and give them these experiences." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "That's great." He goes, "You don't like to receive, do you? You don't like people doing that for you. You don't like people paying for the bill. You don't like people getting you gifts. You just," I said, "Not at all." He said, "How does it make you feel when you do those things for people? You feel good, you feel empowered, you feel like you made somebody's day." Well, every time that someone tries to do something like that for you and you don't allow them, you take that joy away from them. And he said, the next time somebody wants to do something, bite your tongue, just relax, accept it, and just say thank you. He goes, even if you're uncomfortable, go sit with that uncomfortableness, but know that that person feels really good about doing that for you. Yeah. And I still, even though he told me that, it's work, it's a struggle. You know, if you want to run a marathon, you don't wake up tomorrow running. You got to run them, 1/2 of a mile at a time, right. 1/4 mile, whatever condition you're in at that moment. So I agree with what you're saying, and I'm still slowly working on that. Right, this conversation was even a vulnerable state of allowing the world, because people look at you, both of you, they look at someone like me and they say, "Oh, he's supposed to have his, he's got his stuff together. He's got a successful commercial real estate business. He's got this other project. He's teaching men how to be gentlemen. He dresses well and he drives nice cars. He just carries himself well, and he's well spoken." And so you always feel the need to be on and to be on and to be on and to be on, so that the list of people that you can allow yourself to really see that other side when you have those bad days is really short, right? But those are the times when self-love is huge. Intention sticks, and being connected to people who understand that and feel your passion and feel your love and feel that is huge. Being able to reach out or have that kismet spirit of texting or calling is huge. And no matter who you are, whether you're a 16-year-old who's just starting life, or you're a 60-year-old CEO who's figured it out, you are going to have a bad day, and you're going to have someone reach out. And it's okay to hurt. It's okay to have a bad day. It's okay. That's the thing. I think the message is that it's okay, and don't ever hesitate to reach out to anybody. You don't have to be strong all the time for everybody, because you get drained. Right? And I really want people to know that I'm not saying I'm superhuman, but that I'm not human sometimes, or that I am human sometimes, or all the time. I want people to know that, because when I share this with Distinguished and the people who watch, I want them to know that I may come across as refined so much of the time, but I'm alive, so many imperfections, and I have dark days, but it's how you deal with those how you connect with the world, the people around you, that really defines your existence. Because I don't care how alone you feel, there's somebody out there who understands. There's a lot of people out there who will listen, who will understand. I've had amazing conversations with strangers. I live in Las Vegas. I've been here many a times. You'd be surprised the conversations randomly out of nowhere and what people will share with you.
Yeah.
But I also have to tell you, there's one moment and one night in particular that I was supposed to meet a friend for dinner. He couldn't make it. I went to the bar, very nice restaurant, went to the bar area. I know some people there. Decided to sit down and have a scotch. Figured I'm there. And there was a young woman next to me who just started talking and was just going through some things. We had a 3-hour conversation. That was a few years ago. We're amazing friends today. Have helped each other through all kinds of stuff. Amazing friends. She actually texted me yesterday. I mean, it's you never know whose life you're going to touch, or who's going to touch yours.
Yes.
Right? Kind of rambling again, so I'm going to let you take it.
Oh,
You're not.
that
And
is
that is the soul-to-soul connection that you're talking about. And at the first part of your story, you were talking about intentions and how for you they weren't necessarily working out in the way that you thought or expected them to work out.
Yeah.
And that you kind of went through this roller coaster kind of time. And I think what happens is that people think when they set their intention, they're just going to set it and let it ride. But what happens is you have to put action behind it. You have to put feeling behind it. You have to believe in the intention, because it's the same thing with a prayer. If you're just saying the words and there's no feeling, then of course nothing's going to happen or show up for you.
Just words.
They're just words. So we have to put them into action. But so what's happening is if you really believe the opposite, where you're saying, I want love, I want kindness, I want joy, I want success. But meanwhile, on the other side, you're saying, well, it's not going to work out. And how's this possible? And there's no way. And it's just going to fail. Then all of a sudden you don't know which way the momentum wants to go. You don't know which way the engine is going to take you. Do you want to go this way or do you want to go that way? So what happens is then, like you said, we wind up going into this depression or this place of fear, meaning anger and frustration and stress comes in. And so I think that's when you went to that reset button and finally had it. You had to really experience the pain. And sometimes we have to go all the way and push the limit before we can truly understand. And like you said, it's okay, because we have to see polarity. We have to experience polarity in order to see the opposite, in order to see what it is that we do want, right? When we see what we don't want, it makes us realize what we do want. So it's that yin yang, right? It's the dark and the light. So if you're in the darkness, then it'll make you realize, I don't like the darkness. I don't like this, that I'm here. I don't want to get back to the light, And so it's okay, like you said, to go through that, because we are humans and we are here to go through obstacles and pain and challenges and tests, because if not, then we would just be mediocre. We would just be cruising through life and with no experience, because really that's what we're here to do, is to have a life experience. But how are we going to know what that is if we don't go through the polarities?
Of course. And one thing I think it's real easy. The one statement I think we're both, I want to say this to everyone who's watching. And I know a lot of people, every single person who has one of these understands this. If you don't have one and you're getting one, or you're curious about it, you must pick your intentions that align with your life right now. It's very important to pick the most important intentions, but like you said, you also have to do the work. You also have to believe it, because what you resist persists. Always has, always will. And I think I also, not that I ever picked the wrong intentions, but they didn't align properly in that window. They're great intentions, and they're great long term. All of them are coming to fruition. But you must pick the ones that align. You don't want to just go, you know what, that would be great if I had that. So let me pick this and see what happens. You can't do that. You have to be in line with yourself, with your intentions, with your purpose, and with your deal. It has to align with your life. And that's probably, it just came to me that that's the best way to say it. And that would be that's my best advice for anyone, even if you don't have an intention state. You don't need to have one to have intention, right? That's about, you should have intention and purpose for your life, period. Yeah. I know we had a great conversation at your home with my production crew at the time. We surprised them, and tears and joy. I mean, they still send me messages, sending me pictures of them, and they thank me, and they say that was a moment that changed their life. I still talk to Marissa every day, a dear friend of mine who still wears hers all the time. It's amazing the connection everyone has, I couldn't be more grateful to have met both of you, to become family, and to share these stories with you and your guests and your followers and your viewers and mine as well. And I am so grateful for all of this. I had one more thing, and I started getting a little,
No, we're here. This is good, bro. Share.
But it's I'm grateful that I went through such a dark time. Later, I've had them before. I've had those, but it was just, to be frank with you, it was probably my darkest moment in life. Last year, middle of last year, almost a year ago, like 10 months ago. I had to look at the date. I don't know why. I know what date it is. But it's I'm actually truly grateful for that. And it was terrible. But it's a better story later. It's a better story later. And every one of my intentions, once I decided to make that you have to decide. Once I decided to make that change, decided to feel the power, the strength, the love, and the connection, it's amazing what life brings you. It's amazing how full you can get. You really just allow yourself to receive. That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Nick, that is so story. Beautiful, so profound, and again, why we're having this conversation, this divine conversation today, as we are witnessing everyone in this world going through something, and for you to share your heart, your soul, your truth with the world, I honor you, because this is what we need to share more of, or people need to share more of themselves, to ask for that help, to make sure they're not ever going to go through something alone, and that we are all here for one another. And this gift we've received, not just for the world now, but for the generations to come, that we can teach these beautiful children and generation to grow up living a life of intention and knowing that, yes, we need to take care of ourselves, of course. We can continue to give, but to truly know we're here to help one another. And that will always bring us our bliss, our happiness, and why we're here.
Right. And it doesn't necessarily matter if someone, or there's a difference of someone who's on the street or someone who's a billionaire, right? Or someone who's religious or someone who's an atheist. We're all faced with challenges in life. We're all going through something. Matter. So that the connection, as you did with that beautiful woman that needed you that day, who now you're very close to,
I'm
the
smiling.
importance of just even waving to someone or smiling at them to acknowledge their presence, make them feel as though they matter.
You gotta say, and I gotta tell you, you made me think of something, because, and I'm grabbing my phone for a reason, and I'm gonna do this because if something, I just want to let everyone know, if somebody, anyone in the world at any moment is on your mind, and you're thinking about reaching out no matter what, I highly suggest just doing it. There's a reason you feel that.
Yes.
And there's someone that just came across my mind, and our families go back 3 generations. I haven't talked to them in a few months. And in Vegas, with this whole COVID thing, a lot of people have lost their jobs. This guy's been employed here for decades. He lost everything. And it just gave me, I just want to just checking in with you, period. Want to make sure all is well, period. Let me know if you need anything.
Right.
I love that.
Brian,
And I just had this strong urge to reach out.
yeah.
So just sent that through. It's as much as just reaching out to one person. If that person's been on my mind all day. And as you were saying that, I couldn't stop thinking about that individual. And I know he's going through it, but you never know what that could be the difference in his life. And I just want to make sure, I want him to know that I'm there for him. So, and I expect him to respond. I know he's going through it. And if I have to get off of this and go over to his house, then I will.
100%.
I have this strong urge. I wish you could see the goosebumps right now.
Same. Every hair on my body
reach out.
is standing up.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I feel it.
And you want to hear something, again, no coincidences, that I had reached out to you during that time. I felt there, I don't know if you remember, and I can go back. I don't ever delete.
No, I know. You did. You actually did.
And
You did.
said, wow, talk about timing. And so your intuition. So again, perfect message, Nick, for whomever is watching this, regardless if this is now or you're playing it 10 years from now, that if you're feeling the urge to reach out to someone, or that message pops into your head,
Just do it.
is correct. Just stop what you're doing and act on it like you just did. And that is so beautiful, because
seconds of your life could change somebody's life.
And seconds matter. And seconds matter. And listen to those messages. Follow your heart. I don't care how busy or distracted you are. Say, excuse me 1 second. I just have to do this. And that's it. Because that is being present. That is being in the now. That is listening to the messages. And sometimes we have to say, shut the heck up.
Right.
And follow this, because it's never wrong. Your heart and soul, your gut is never wrong. And we still don't trust that. And that was the one thing we talked about. Trust the journey. And everything always works out for all of us.
It does, right? It's and I'll finish with, because trusting the journey is important. You have to embrace the fact that you have a journey.
Yes.
So many people don't even get to this point in the journey. I said, I want to say it was a few months ago, I was making a joke, and I said, getting old sucks. And someone looked at me and said, no, getting old is a privilege. Many people don't make it to your age. And I got to say, like, I was only joking, and they were being serious, but not overly serious. But it was a realization. And I said, you know what? You're right. I'll never say getting old sucks ever again.
No.
It's a privilege.
To
get back to that, embrace the journey, because you have a journey.
Yes.
Good or bad, you're on a journey. Yeah. Come on, that's amazing.
And find your why we're here, why we've been given our platform, our tools, our knowledge, the abundance. You're making coffee. It's here to help one another. And when you realize that, when you finally see that, wow.
Well, I came up with a great exercise. I know we're running kind of long on time, but I came up with an exercise that we'll do. Maybe we'll do another filming, or we'll do something for it. I came up with an exercise that I run while I'm going to the young men in Distinguished through this exercise. And it could be men or women, anyone. And I don't really know where I got it. I think I pulled a few pieces of different things I learned over the years and made my own little kind of
Yes.
assignment. And I don't want to use experiment. I tested it and used it on a few people. One young man that works for me in my commercial real estate business, 23 years old, 24 now, 23, worked with us for a little over a year, came out to Vegas to work with me because he works in our Scottsdale office with my business partner and our team there. And he said, I just need to get away. Can I come work with you? Of course. Comes out and he goes to go through his normal routine. We go into my office, goes to get on the phone. And I said, what are you doing? So I'm doing what I always do. I say, well, keep doing what you always done. You're going to keep getting what you always got. Come with me. So I take him to a coffee shop and I said, I'm going to run you through a little exercise. You ready? You need a notepad and a pen. Because the best notes or the worst notes are better than the best memory. Always remember that. People need to remember the worst notes are better than the best memory. So I said, it's going to take probably about an hour and a half to do this. So we go through this exercise. I also did it with Jesus and Derek. Jesus to this day said he does this every day now. And at the end of it, we go through this. I don't want to give it away. I want to do a whole other.
Right.
But it will hands down help every single person find their purpose in their life. Period. There's guaranteed in writing or all your money you just paid right now back. But it's definitely, it's a great exercise. And to give you the short version, what I do is I ask them, what do you want? What do you mean? Just what do you want? First thing that comes to mind, what do you want? Do you want peace? Do you want health? Do you want a Lamborghini? What do you want? Just write it down. You have to ask. So I say, ask me, he asks. So I write it. Ask. Because when you ask people a question, when someone else asks you something, your brain has to find an answer. Right? Ask yourself the right questions, get the right answers. So I ask this, and usually what happens is right around like 120 to 150 things people can't write anymore. So you have to start digging deep. Mm-hmm. I want a better life for my family. I want to be a good person. I want to leave a legacy. Instead of all the things, people start writing down these really. So when it's all over, I go, great. Now I want you to take all 130 of those things, break it down to about 12 to 15 of the most important things on that list. The most important thing on those lists, figure that out, take a day, 2 days, a week, come back to me. Everyone has come back to me within 24 hours and said, I have my list. Amazing. Okay, great. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to take those 12, 13, 14, 15 things, write your obituary using those things. Mm-hmm. What? I want you to write your own obituary, being remembered for those things.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to read it. Mm-hmm. And I said, those 12, they call them 12 things, that's your purpose. That obituary, that's your legacy. Now work backwards.
Yes. Beautiful.
And the impact it has on, so the young man who works for me, he went back to Scottsdale. He called me and said, I just got to tell you, in the 3 days I spent with you, I gained more about my life, more about myself and my purpose in those 3 days than I did in all 23 years of living. So he said, I thank you for that. It was great. That's the stuff I live for.
Yes.
That is what I love that because I didn't have that when I was younger.
No, we weren't taught these things.
I didn't have that. My parents did the best they could with what they were given.
Yes.
Right? Which wasn't the greatest and it wasn't the worst. Yeah. But it's up to us to continuously become better, but share that so that growth and blossom and gardens can grow bigger and better.
Your story, I just want to share something that you reminded me of. We had a gentleman who came in from Vancouver. He showed up at the office. And as you know, no one just shows up.
No.
And he's an older gentleman and comes in, says that someone had told him about the intention stick and that he needed to get one. So I said, okay, come on in, tell me your story. And the gist of the story is that years ago, he was part of the Olympics. And being in the Olympics, they had to take a psychological examination and evaluation. And part of that was to write down 30 things that made you happy.
Okay.
So he says, I list 30 things that I think make me happy. And I give it to my psychologist, and she looks it over and she goes, okay, pushes it back. She says, okay, now narrow it down to 3 things. So he says, I narrowed it down to something important to do, someone to love, and something to look forward to. So she pushes it back and she says, okay, now live by those 3 things.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
So he says some years went on, and he has this lake house, and he went to the lake house and he was cleaning up, and he came across this piece of paper, and he opens it up, and it was the paper with the 3 things on it. And he says, and I forgot about those 3 things. And I said, you remind me of the story of the little prince, because the little prince said, it's not getting older that's the problem, it's forgetting.
Wow.
And so he said, I need an intention stick to remind me of what I need in my life.
Wow.
And and so your story of sharing this experience with these beautiful souls that you're helping, or this exercise that you're giving to them, is so powerful. And it's so important, because look at this man who was, already much older and didn't remember to live that way. And to share this with someone young who has their whole life in front of them is so powerful. So thank you for doing that.
That tool, that reminder that allows us to get up each day. It grounds us. It brings us back to where we need to be every day and live that life of intention.
And I want, the exercises, I told them I want them to write in their journal, first page,
Absolutely.
an obituary, and read it every day.
Love it. Love it.
And why? Purpose, legacy, but to remind all of us that day is coming.
Yes.
So live that moment, and live your day, live your journey as close to that as you can. And that in goosebumps. And when I tell people that, most people get freaked out when I tell them to write their obituary. But when they, like Jesus says, he said, I read it and I write the 12 things every day. He said, thank you. And for those watching, Jesus is part of my production team and a dear friend who works on my other project. And we surprised but it's, again, if this conversation that we're having can change the life of one person watching.
Yeah. And we can push the reset button every day.
Yes.
Right? With your exercise, in a sense, we do go through a death process every day. We can put everything behind us and start over again in the morning.
Absolutely.
And remind us of what it is we want to achieve while we're here, the experience we want to have while we're here.
And what do we say to the kids every day?
I just ask, what have you done for humanity today? Whether it doesn't have to be something huge. I just mean, have you smiled at someone? Did you open the door for somebody?
Did you just text someone? Again, it's not, we need to part the Red Sea. It's not. It's just to let someone else know they exist, they're loved, they matter, they have purpose, everything we speak about. And I can't wait for our next conversation, my brother, because it only gets better and better. And that is the tree of life. It's the expansion of our souls and the souls that we touch and our legacy that we're going to leave. It's why we're here. And I'm so full. Thank you. I mean, I can't wait for you to come back so we can give you a virtual.
I'll be back in a couple of weeks, so I'll let you know.
We're gonna celebrate life as we do every day.
Every day. And this Thursday, I just decided, is the day I'm going to release our conversation at your home on our channel, on the His English channel. So this Thursday, and decided we're going to do uncut, unedited. We're just going to go straight through the whole thing so people can just watch how deep of a conversation it really was.
Just like this, real. Nothing, again, this is what the world needs to experience. Be real, be who you are, speak your truth, be your truth, and come from love. And it's as simple as that, because what we put out from our hearts comes back in. And when we're putting out that love and that gratitude and that trust and that happiness and everything we live by, only more comes in. But we're also now sharing this with the world. And you, Nick, as you know, are as important to this as Marla and I. And for this, we are blessed and grateful. And we honor you. And we don't ever say goodbye. We say abiento. But you know, our sign off is, as always, sending you blessings and intentions of gratitude, light, and love from our hearts and souls to you. We love you so much.
Well, I love you, and you mean the world to me. Thank you so much for the time, the words, and being in my life.
Oh. Abiento.
Abiento.
Abiento.